Shalom. Shalom. All right. Shalom to brothers and sisters online. We're going to go into a lesson regarding the business and economic issues of Israel. Business and economic issues. Some may say economic, say economic, whatever. Issues of Israel. This is important because, one, this lesson will show us why we will not advance as a nation, why we stay beating each other down, and why we stay, even though, a lot of our people have money, but yet, why can't we advance socially? Why can't we advance economically or socially in our nation? And that's crucial. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. One thing that, in order to be a nation, you have to have an economic structure. You have to. This is why you might see a lot of the so-called African or conscious community always talking about somehow, getting some reparations. Y'all heard about that? We need reparations, which is supposed to be damages given to us by this society for having us in slavery. But what good is it? What good is giving someone reparations when they don't know what to do with it? That's the problem. We got a lot of our people. We don't lack money. We might be impoverished, but that's just because we're in ignorance. But when you get down to the aspect of money, a lot of our people hold a lot of the wealth in this world. But yet, how is it that we're still at the bottom? That's amazing. It's ridiculous that can even happen. No matter how many foundations and so-called trying to give back, it will not create a system that will put our people in a position of power. The government makes sure of that. And anytime they get money, they always make sure that they put our people in a position to where they know how to blow it and not use it wisely. That's crucial. So let's get Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's read verse 17. Let's go into some of these curses. We know in the chapter of Deuteronomy, it talks about Israel going into slave ships, being oppressed. It speaks a lot about that, which helps us to identify with who we are today. But there's some that it goes into with how we deal with one another also. Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to read verse 17. These are some of the curses that came upon our people for not obeying the laws of the Most High. Let's find out what happened.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 17. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Because Israel didn't obey the laws of the Most High, he said, cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. What is that saying? Who can answer what that's saying? What is that saying, Edward? Can you get a mic, please? Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. What does it mean, cursed shall be thy basket?
It's talking about the actual goods that we would be using to sustain ourselves and using for trade.
Okay. So when it says cursed, what does that mean?
That means no good, no bueno.
No good. Elaborate.
No good being you won't be good in your business ethics anymore. Like you won't. The other curses say that the land would be destroyed as well too, like with pestilences and that.
Right.
So there would be no substance for us to do business with and trade with anyone, let alone besides ourselves.
All right. So then when it says and thy store, what does that mean?
The surplus that we would be using to trade.
Okay, you there. Who else can elaborate? Baruch, go ahead. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
I believe that the basket is talking about our savings, our storehouse, what we're able to actually survive off and have something left over. So I believe it's saying that, whatever we have, we're going to wind up spending it and be nothing left over.
Okay, so what about the store?
I believe
shall be thy basket and thy store.
I believe it's talking about basically the same thing.
Okay, let's deal with it. So what is a basket used for? To gather. when you had a field, right? You took your basket and that's what you would go out and gather. Whatever it was you were growing, your crops, vegetables, fruits, whatever, that was your produce, agriculture, you would gather it in, okay? Even if you had precious minerals, gold and all that, you would gather it in that, right? That's the store is that you don't gather for nothing. What supermarkets, okay? And then that's how we did business. That's how you lived. It wasn't just that we would take it, keep it, and we would fry it up, cook it, and eat it, and that was it. No, that was part of it. But the biggest part of sustaining ourselves was that what we grew was how we lived. The amount we grew and the amount we were able to reproduce and sell, that determined our wealth. Y'all see that? So one thing we understood and the Most High taught us first and foremost when we left out of ancient Egypt, what was the first thing he taught and he planned to give us? Who said that? Land. He taught us, he said, I'm going to give you a land that floweth with milk and with honey. Why is the land important? Because you can do a whole lot. You can grow. You can live on it. You can leave it to your children. They can eat off of it. It's like an eternal pot of wealth. Y'all see that? It's a natural form of flowing what we call liquid, because those are things that you can hold and you can sell and you can trade with and you can see it. It's not like how this old make-believe stuff we have now. When you go to the bank, all you do is see numbers and digits. You understand? Or the stock market, where it can go up and go down. It's not controlled. We didn't deal with stuff like that. We dealt with real, tangible material. So if you had, if you had flocks, camels, that was, you could use that to make clothing. You could use it for transportation. Also, that was like a car dealership to you. If you had goats and lambs and oxen, that was also for wool. You could have leather, making material, houses, also the meat. And also they would stud and reproduce. So that right there, the Most High said, if we learn to live with this, we could live forever and be wealthy. Y'all see that? All right. So when the Most High said, because we didn't obey him, what he began to do was take away elements of our intelligence. So he said, I'm going to take away your aspect of doing business. So therefore, not only will you lose land, you're going to lose your agriculture, you're going to also lose your business savvy. So even when you have a business, it's going to be cursed. How many so-called Black or Latino business have you known to last more than 20 years? More than 10 years? Being successful. That's by design. But the Most High showed it, because when we start to look at these things and find out, one thing we see about our businesses is that we all messed up when it comes down to business. We do bad business amongst ourselves. That's a big problem. So let's read that again.
Verse 17, cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
So the things that we sell, they're going to be cursed. They're not going to be of the best quality. They're not going to be of the best durability. Y'all understand? Go ahead. And thy store. So the store, the business, the customer service is going to be bad. Y'all been to the hood stores, right? Why is that? Looking to get over you. So you try to sell somebody something. You know it ain't the best product. But you ain't going to tell them that. You're going to try to get over. To the point to where we don't like doing business with each other. That's where the problem becomes. Or we'll go to our brother and say, give me the hookup. We're not concerned that he has a living to make. We don't go do that with the white man, though. He says $9.99, we pay $9.99. Our brothers say $9.99. I said, come on, $5. $5. Right? But is that righteous? Is that healthy? Is that kind of business healthy for our economy as a nation? See, these are the things we got to look at. That's why Esau teaches his people business. That's why they have business courses. They teach them that. These are the things that giving hookups, that destroys your economy. Because then you start to lower your profit margin. And then how can you eat, like brother said, how can you have something stored and left over to continue when you're not making a profit anymore? Y'all understand what's going on? So these are the things that we got to look at, that the Bible teaches us when doing business. One, as a nation, even amongst ourselves as a congregation, even in our personal lives. Even in our personal lives, we do bad business. We buy stuff and pay for things we don't need. We waste more than that we should be throwing away. You don't understand? We do a whole lot of that. To where the Most High said, you know what? That's a curse to us. We will never get ahead. Look at it. Then they come up with sayings, it ain't tricking if you got it, right? What does that mean? What does that mean, Kahan? It ain't tricking if you got it. They say that all the time.
I guess if you got it, you can just blow it.
If you got it, they just blow it, right? But what it comes from is amongst prostitutes and whores and pimps, is that when a prostitute would take a man and exploit him for money, for sexual favors, he was called a trick. Okay, y'all ever heard that term before? Okay, so that was a man that would go out and pay for sexual favors. He would go out and blow all his money to hopefully get somewhere with this woman. At the end of the night, hopefully he wants to have sex with her. So they come up with these terms with all these people, with all these basketball players and actors that go out and just spend money, make it rain, throwing money all over the place. Well, if you got it, it ain't really tricking, you know, because I got it to burn. But then what happens to them 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line? They have nothing. Y'all understand what's going on? So the riches that they had, they didn't even know what to do with it, to the point to where you have people that have millions and millions of dollars at one time. Now, they're working at Target. Where did you go wrong with having millions of dollars in your hand, not talking about over a lifetime, but at one time in your possession, and you blew it?
Host has joined the conference.
That's crazy, right? How many Japanese or Chinese do you see going through that? How many Caucasians do you see going through that? How many times do you really even see them on those shows like Cribs and all of that? Yeah, I got 13 Lamborghinis and all that. So-called white men be laughing at us. Hey, look at these fools. But these are the things that we got to understand. So he said, curse shall be thy basket and thy store. Let's go down to Proverbs chapter 12. And 24. So one of the problems, we're going to cover a lot of these things. One of the problems that we have with our businesses being cursed is that we don't know how to do business. That's the first thing. We don't know anything about customer service. We don't know anything about having to really make sure that test the integrity of our merchandise to make sure we're delivering proper product. When our forefathers did business, that's what they prided themselves on that. They made sure, our forefathers was herders and husbandmen. Whatever they grew, they made sure that it was the best. Whatever business they undertook, they made sure that they did it to the fullest. You were getting top quality. Or they said, we ain't even dealing with it, because are we a mediocre people? Are we a substandard people? No. We're the children of the Lord. So we were taught to always be the rulers, always be first. The nation, that's why when you read in Nehemiah, when they wanted to come on the Sabbath, they were coming into the cities of Jerusalem to do business. Y'all notice that? They want to do business with us. But now all that's cursed. Nobody wants to do business with us anymore. You understand? In so much, we don't want to do business with us. That's bad. How are we going to grow as a nation with that mentality? But we got to fix it. So let's read that. Proverbs chapter 12, and let's read verse 24.
Verse 24. The hand of the diligent shall bear rule.
The hand of the diligent. One thing as a people, we got to be diligent. We have to be diligent. You run a business, you got to be open on time, right? You show up and say 10 o'clock open, you there at 10:30, no door's still closed. Something's wrong, right? Close at a certain time. Hey, it's 6 o'clock. I thought y'all closed at 10. Yeah, you know, we're going to close a little early. I got to go. Can't have that. The hand of the diligent shall bear rule. So anything that our people thought to overtake, they did it to the fullest. They were diligent about it. They knew it backwards and forwards. That way, they would be the best in that market. Y'all understand? That's how our people grew. Becoming a powerful nation ain't just about because we got the Bible in our hand. It's about how we apply what's written. The business properties that the nations have, where do you think they learned it from? They learned it from right here. What the so-called white man teaches in his boardrooms amongst his CFOs and CEOs are coming right out of here. And that's how he maintains and keeps his wealth. And how we lose it and we get behind is because we don't come out of this. And this is our book. Y'all see the problem? So one thing that they have upon us is that our people aren't being diligent as they're supposed to be. We're supposed to learn whatever it is that we're going to do backwards and forwards. Let me show you something. Go to the book of Exodus. Get chapter 35. Let me show you about when it says diligent. If you want to sell oils, you better have the best oil that's ever produced. And know all about it. Because that's how you stay on top of your product, right? You can't go and say, well, tell me, what's in your oil? I don't really even know. I get them from up the street. That's not being on top of your product. But when you could go through in and throughout about it, and you can make that person say, you know what, man, they know he knows his product. Won't they feel more secure? Aren't they more compelled to spend and come back? See, that's how it works. Our people just do enough to get by. That's why I said the hand of the diligent shall bear rule. Rule meaning rulership. When you're diligent, you become a leader. You can rule the world through diligence. Let's show you some diligence and what the Most High was talking about. Exodus 35, and let's read verse 35. Let's watch this.
Exodus chapter 35 and verse 35.
Look at this.
Them that he filled with wisdom of heart.
So he's speaking about, this is people who had a skill that the Most High is looking for to make the priest's garments. He says, look, I need someone to make these garments. They cannot just be any kind of garments. It's going to take embroidery. It's going to take them working with fine material. It's going to take them working with precious jewels. They're going to have to know how to cut. They're going to have to be able to chisel stone. And they're going to have to make them with precision. Can you just get anybody to do that? So this is what he said. He said, then hath he filled with wisdom of heart. Go ahead.
To work all manner of work.
To work all manner of work. Wisdom of heart. To work all manner of work. They were wise in this craft. Go ahead.
Of the engraver.
To engrave. Go ahead.
And of the cunning workman.
To be able to cut the material, to stitch the material, to put it in place. Cunning, that means skillfully. Go ahead.
And of the embroiderer.
An embroiderer, that's the person that works with the material. Sewing, able to put and stitch these things together. Go ahead.
In blue. And in purple.
Meaning a person that knows how to work with dyeing colors and materials and things like that. This is all it took and the skill that it took to get into making the priest's garments. Read on.
In scarlet and in fine linen.
And working with fine linen. Read on.
and of the weaver, even of them that do any work, and of those that devise cunning work.
You see that? So he said those that had wisdom of heart. Could this be any ordinary person to do all this? Could this be a person that just raised their hand? I can sew. No, they're going to put you to the test. Let me see. Let's see your work. If it wasn't up to par, could you hold that job? It wasn't personal. It was what? Business. That's something our people don't know either. They mix personal with business. Our people are business-minded. Well, you know, that's my cousin. Let me hire him. But they don't do the job. So what happens to your business? Now, it's one thing if that person is moving to exalt and elevate himself, and you helping that person, that's a different story. But a lot of times, people are in positions that they have no business being in. Have y'all seen that before? And what is that? That's a reflection on your business. Here it is, you call customer service or technical support about a computer, and they on the phone, and you like, yeah, what kind of computer you got? Well, yeah, I have an HP. Hold on. You just, what the hell is going on? But when a person gets on there, yeah, okay, I know such and such. Yeah, oh, is that the TL304? Well, yeah. Well, tell me, what problems are you having? Okay, press the power key. So you say, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. And you get the job done, right? But then you get that person that's on there that's like, what the hell are they doing? And you just hang up because you're frustrated. Y'all ever ran into that person? Yep. It's like, what the heck are you even doing? This is supposed to be customer service? Now already sounding like they having a bad day, right? Hello? Yeah, I'm calling. Yeah, right. Hold on. There was a spot that what was that spot we used to go to? I had quartered, the food spot. They had the worst customer service on the planet. Yeah, oh my gosh. Ain't no reason, there's no wonder why these people close down. But I'm like, literally, they'd be like, what you want? Yeah, I have that. Hold on, wait. Yeah, it's over the thing. What you need? I hear you. Repeat what you said. You want cheese on it? Yeah, we don't have no cheese. This is how I was like, damn. But that's what happens with that type of customer service. Our people, that's why I said the hand of the diligence shall bear rule. It takes that level of commitment to build up and keep our businesses going. That's why they start to fall. Because we don't take that pride, we don't put that integrity into it. So you know what? What happens? People, then they say, well, why should I go over there? I can go see Tom down in Beverly Hills and get it for less and get it better. So cursed shall be our basket in our store because we're not putting that same level of professionalism that our forefathers did. When we did business, we did straight business. That went down in history. When we did business with Hiram and we was building the temple and things like that, those were business moves. And it went down in history. Our forefathers knew about making business moves. When Joseph was ruling Egypt, he did business moves. Do y'all see that? That were historic. But in order to get these things back and to get that mentality, we got to read that history. And we got to get it back even on smaller levels. Read that again. Read it.
35. Them hath he filled with wisdom of heart, to work all manner of work, of the engraver, and of the cunning workman, and of the embroiderer, in blue and in purple, in scarlet, and in fine linen, and of the weaver, even of them that do any work, and of those that devise cunning work.
See that? So just making the priest's garments, they had to get the best to do so. Because the priests were a representative of who? The Most High. We're a representative of the Most High, right? So we got to make sure our business practices is 100% too. Because a lot of times they're not. And that's what gives us a bad name from our personal level, as a nation, as a culture. We give many proverbs and bywords to the nations because of how we conduct business. try to get over, try to scheme, always scheming. Why? To save a buck? But we end up paying more in the long run. Every time. Cutting corners. But we got to roll. We got to get past that. Let's go to go back to Proverbs 12 and 24. So one of the things, as I said, curse shall be thy basket and thy store. What I'm showing us is a mentality we got to have to deal with business. We can't be slothful, can we? We got to be diligent. Everything we do is a business. Think about it. Anything you can do, there's a business that someone thought about that put some diligence into it that made it a business. Somebody had to say, you know what? I'm going to make buttons that go on shirts. Sounds like, who the hell would just think of that? But it's needed. People need that. People buy cufflinks. People need buttons to button up their shirts, right? Somebody says, I'm going to make thread. Can't make clothes without thread. So you have people that make that. This person say, I'm going to make a paper clip. I'm going to make that little staple that goes in the staple gun. I'm going to make those little plastic things that keep the papers together. Instead of a steel paper clip, I'll make a plastic one. There's always a mind going on where there's business involved. That's something someone's profiting from. Y'all see that? That's the mind the Most High put on us. Where did it go? We don't have that mind no more. Let's just get by. Let me just get a couple. We don't want to own no more. We don't want to run the world. We just want to be in it. That's it. We don't want to design the shoe. Let's just put on this. I just want to have some on. So our mentality has gone below what it's supposed to be. The scripture says that we're supposed to have dominion over the world and subdue it, right? That's why we were given these principles of wisdom so that we can subdue it. And the only way you can subdue it is through what? You got to have power. You got to have resources, which means you got to have a strong economic base. There's no other way around it. There's no other way around it. Like I said, look at all these athletes with all these millions of dollars. But do they have any power? Because they don't know what to do with the money. They don't know what to do with it. Think about it. You make $100 million a year and you don't know what to do with it. Think about it. Because you're still no more of a servant than you were before you received that money. Because you got a record label now, that means something. Or you own this home, that doesn't mean anything. Here's the thing. Ask all these athletes that have this money, how much land do you own? One thing about Donald Trump, he knew how to play the game. He said, you know what? But at the end of the day, his first aspect was dealing with real estate, was dealing with property and land. He'd tell you, if you don't own land, you're nothing. What do you think the so-called white man was looking for when he first came over here? He was looking for what? Land. Our forefathers knew that. That's why they said, we're going to go to a land where nobody's at. We're going to keep it for ourselves. And built up on the land, nobody can say nothing. And owned and ran it and ruled it all. And then what happened? It got taken from them. Land. See, that's the key. You have that land, you can live off that. You can leave it from generation to generation. You can't do that with no house. Because all you do is pay and rent the structure. You understand what's going on? It's a whole logic to the situation. So it said what? The hand of the diligent shall bear rule. Go ahead.
But the slothful shall be under tribute.
The slothful shall be under tribute. The slothful will always be behind. They will always be the ones as servants. See, so now that we're servants, what happened to our mentality? We got slothful. Are we under tribute right now? Our mentality got slothful. That's what happened. Let's get Proverbs 10. Let's read Proverbs chapter 10 and let's read verse 4.
Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 4. He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand.
See that? What's a slack hand? What's a slack hand? You're always slacking. What's that mean? Behind. Not on your job, not on point. They become poor that deal like that. But go ahead.
But the hand of the diligent maketh rich.
See that? It takes diligence. It takes perseverance. It takes sacrifice. That's what diligence means. You want to make it successful, you got to get in, you got to work it. You got to be diligent in it. Anything you choose to do, you got to put it all in. Or why even do it? So that it can fail on you? It don't work that way. Let's go into some of our things. Let's go into Leviticus. I want to get some business practices of why we become destitute. Let's get Leviticus 19. Let's read verse 13.
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 13. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor.
See, that's one thing that we do. Defraud your neighbor. How can you defraud your neighbor in business? Who got the mic? I'm going to ask some questions. I want to hear from the people. How can you defraud your neighbor in business? Iman, how can you defraud your neighbor?
By charging interest.
Okay, that's one way. But we could charge interest to the heathen. That's something different. But how can you defraud them? Go ahead, Farah.
Sell them a car that you told them was good, but really wasn't.
Okay. Has that happened? And y'all bought a lemon before? Go ahead, Daraj. He says, thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor.
Selling fake merchandise like fake jewelry, fake shoes.
Okay. Selling fake merchandise. Are you defrauding him if you tell him it's fake? No. You know this gold gonna change in a week, right? That's why I'm selling it to you for $40. But exactly, by false advertising, pass it off to be something that it's not. That's defrauding them, okay? How else can you defraud your neighbor? What's another way? Go ahead, Shamawa.
By stealing from him, stealing the goods out of his store.
Okay, well that's theft. Let's defraud. Fraud is something that's not real. Let's find out. Let's get a little bit more from that. Defraud thy neighbor. Go ahead, Lewis.
By selling somebody a stolen item.
Yeah, that's still going into theft.
Okay.
But let's deal with defrauding your neighbor. We had an instance where you sell someone something you know that's broken and try to tell them that it's working properly. Okay? Or you sell them something and saying that it's real when it's really not. All right? But here, let's get into something else. How can you defraud a neighbor? Go ahead, Baruch. This is why I'm asking this, because we got to know how we be doing business.
You get hired to do a job and you do a half job.
Okay, there you go. That's a good one. Somebody says, hey, I need you to paint. Yeah, brother, I'm going to do it to the best of the foot. I'm going to paint the whole thing. They do some old half job with it. Like, you said you was going to do a good job. And man, what's all these streaks and all that? You know, it's going to be extra if I got to touch all that up again. It's all kind of ways, right? Go ahead. Who else got something? Go ahead, Tim.
If you let somebody borrow something and then they lose it.
That's going into another law. That's going into another law. But we'll deal with defraud. Nadaria.
Huh.
I saw your hand up.
Like when you tell somebody that you are going to do something for them, like let's say you're going to if you tell somebody that you're going to make a garment for them and you're going to be the one that do the work for them, and you tell them that it's going to be like 100% cotton, but you just go and you don't even pay attention to like the fabric that you're buying.
There you
It could
go.
end up being a 93% something.
Right. Telling them it's a material when it's not, to save money. Y'all see how that works? Oh yeah, I'll make you this nice all silk garment. It's gonna charge you like $500 though. But you go buy some old off brand, they don't know you think they don't know the difference, so that you can make this profit. Y'all see that? So a lot of that's done on a day-to-day among our people, and that's why the trust diminishes, which means what? The business principles go down, and people don't want to do business. And that means what happens? We have no commerce with one another. When we don't have that, how are we going to be a nation and we don't do business with each other? We're afraid to spend with each other. Man, I already know, man. Every time I deal with my people, man, I get messed up somehow. It's that bad stigma that's left. That got to change. Can y'all see that? It happens though. And then that's the reputation of Israel that goes out to the world. So how many see, and this is something that you know, is that what? The nations, they'll take your money, but will they spend with you? Why not? Let's deal with that. Why won't the nations spend money with you? Gotta ask that. And you could be good at what you do too. But why is it that they won't come and spend with you? Who can answer that? Go ahead, Kahan. You're an entrepreneur.
They keep their money in their own circle. So, like the Chinese people, if you look at them, or the Japanese, they have our women come to the nail shops, spend a lot of money there. But if you notice, they won't even buy in the community that they work in. They even bring their own lunch. So what they do, whatever money that they make, they go back to their communities and build their own communities.
Isn't that crazy? And is that dumb or is that smart? It's very smart. They don't even trade. They don't even say, okay, we'll do your nails. We'll go to your salons and get our hair done with y'all. Nah, they don't want to do that either. They'll say, no, we'll sell you all the hair products, all that what you need. We'll say, but we ain't going to spend a dime with you. We're going to take it all back, and we're going to exchange among ourselves. Why? Because it causes their community and their economic system to thrive. It grows. You put jobs in their community, which means what? You bring wealth to their community. You bring longevity to their community. Y'all see how it works? But at the same time, what happens? We send out, but nothing comes back in with us. So what happens to our community? It starts to diminish. The jobs go away. The ability to save goes away. The ability to leave behind for your children, it's gone. Y'all see that? Because we have nothing to put back in it, because we're steadily sending it out. When you send money out and it doesn't come back, guess what? You're destroying your system. Every civilization, even the Africans, they will spend among their own. They will not do business with you. Now, we know a few here and there. We're not talking about, because somebody might say, I got a white man, that's my client. Wait, you may have a few sprinkled in here and there. But we're talking about as a nation, as a whole. No. They ain't gonna mess with you. So let's read that.
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 13. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him.
Neither rob him. Go ahead.
The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning.
See, here's another problem that we have with payment. He says the wages, if you hire someone to do a job, it says their wages is not supposed to abide with you overnight. That means you're supposed to pay them before they leave, right? Y'all see that? And you're supposed to pay them what you agreed to pay them. Oftentimes it says, yeah, I'll pay you this. And then when it's time to get paid, here come all the excuses. Well, you really didn't do this. You really didn't do that. And such and such. So I'm just going to give you this. Then you have a problem, right? There's always something when it's come down to getting paid. Can I get you tomorrow? Well, look, I did the work today. Why didn't you tell me you would pay me tomorrow? I need the money today. I put in the work today. Well, something came up. Bad business. Happens all the time, doesn't it? But see, people don't realize that they think that those little things is just, that's not how it works. That's trustworthiness. That's bad business. So you think that person's going to want to do business again? Heck no. So there goes another business that gets cursed, and it starts to go down, and eventually the doors close. That's how it happens. Was that all of that?
Yes, sir.
Jump from there. Go to Deuteronomy 24. See, the law gives us guidelines on how to deal with business and keep it right. Because once we first understand about diligence and know how to do good business, now we can start having successful businesses. The first thing, we got to wipe out all these pitfalls out of our businesses first. Deuteronomy 24, verse 14.
Deuteronomy chapter 24 and verse 14. Thou shalt not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in thy land within thy gates.
So see, one thing says a hired servant. A hired servant is one that you're paying to do labor for you. He says you should not oppress them. Give them a hard time, vex them, afflict them. Try to be controlling over them. Y'all see how that works? To where they wake up in the morning, they dread coming to work for you. You understand what's going on? Bad business. That's why, see, that's where when the Most High said, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for thou was a stranger in his land. This is a precept for that. Because when there are servants, why would you want to make an anger to help? So he can spit in your food? No, they should love coming to work for you. The Most High didn't say being a servant was supposed to be a bad thing. But it becomes that when you have the unrighteous in power doing and dealing unrighteously. You understand what's going on? When Israel's in part of the world, the nation's going to say, heck yeah, I'll be a servant. Man, we get the Sabbaths off. We make sure we don't have no unclean, all the things, and man, we have it right. They're going to treat us righteously? No, we know we won't be the masters and have that relationship with the Most High like them, but they'll be all right towards us. And we're going to be good. But when you begin to oppress the people that work for you, that's what happens. You destroy your business. Y'all see what happened? Didn't we learn from the slave revolts? But see, Esau got slick. He read that and said, damn, now we know how to deal with them. Hell yeah, let's give them benefits. Let's make them be happy to come and work for us. Let's set up stocks and bonds for them. Let's give them pensions. Now you got people grinning ear to ear driving to work. I get to call in sick and they pay me for it. But he's sitting back saying it's all good because you're still making us wealthy. As long as you come to work and do your job, he's thinking about his business. He says, hey, my business won't be successful unless you're happy. He knows that now. Before he was afflicting everything and everything was blowing up in his face, he said, hold up, let me get wise here. What can I do to keep things right? Now, when's the last time anybody ever said, let's revolt? When's the last time you heard that conversation? Revolt against what? He's good. Master's good to us. Gave us a job. He gives us everything we need. But we'll never, ever have our own. That's important. People thinking, well, no, have your own. The Most High has always taught us to have our own. He did not set us up and say, no, I don't want you living in nowhere others' land. I don't want you speaking nobody else's language. I want you to have your own. You should have your own culture, your own language, your own name, your own identity. Everything right now, we living up under somebody else's. Y'all notice that? But he said, don't oppress. Read it again.
Thou shalt not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in thy land within thy gates.
Read on.
At his day thou shalt give him his hire.
See that? Meaning that you can't withhold money from them. At his day, meaning the day he's supposed to get paid is the day you're supposed to pay him. Read on.
Neither shall the sun go down upon it.
See that? And you're supposed to wait a day later. Go ahead.
For he is poor and setteth his heart upon it.
See, that man needs that money. How many of y'all need your money when y'all supposed to get it? How would you feel? So-called white man come, whoever's your oppressor or boss, we ain't got it today. We ain't got it today. Come see me in 2 weeks. You know how many calls you got to make? We already know how it go. You know how many calls you're going to have to make? So I got to call, I got to talk to the landlord. I got to call this. I got to call the car note. I got to let all of them know I'm going to be late now. This messing with all your situation, right? But that's business. Now, when this is happening repeatedly, you got to have sense enough to say, you know what, I got to do something else. But this is what happens among our people. Go ahead, I'm sorry, we got to get the mic. Mic, man, a little slow.
I said that's a good example because I had a couple of associates that had businesses where they wasn't treating their employees right, and then when you're not treating them right, they start stealing from your business because you're not giving them the money that they're due. So that means your business is gonna fall.
That's right.
From them stealing.
That's right. Then the customer service goes down, right? Because they don't want to be there. They just need to check now. Then the quality of output of work starts to go down. So who's affected? Who's affected by all that? Your business. So they learn to say, you know what, we better do right by these employees. So yeah, they're gonna have employee luncheons. They're gonna want to keep the camaraderie right in the office place. Because they know if there's drama, the work is gonna be affected. They want to eliminate all that. That's why they got all these suits, sexual harassment, race. They say, heck, they don't want no problems. Y'all notice that? He knows about his money. He says, look, you ain't messing with my money. That man come to work, he's a homosexual, you better not say nothing. Y'all see? And then he said, or we gonna put you under this suit and file a harassment against you and we'll fire you. Because you're messing that's the end of the day. They're not worried about no morals or anything. They're worried about their work. They're worried about their wealth. The Most High said we have to have that same mentality, but in a righteous fashion. Can y'all see that? This is how wealth is kept. As they say, there's a difference between being rich and having wealth. Y'all know the difference, right? You could be rich in any state, but wealth, that's that element where you can pass down. We don't have no wealth. Even the richest people of our nations don't have wealth. Because they still have no political or social power. What good is that? You just have figures in a bank account. Means nothing. But when you're able to start your own, and say, we don't need you, now you're dealing with wealth. You understand the difference? When we can turn our back to the system and say, we don't need y'all. We got enough to sustain ourselves, but everybody got to be on board. We don't need your schools, we got them. We don't need your laws, we got them. We don't need your army, we got them. Try to take what's ours, and you meet them. Now we talking, right? But guess what? Them soldiers got to get paid, right? How they gonna feel when they got to get paid and you tell them, can I get you next week? Now we back at square one again, right? See, that economy works, but it got to be put properly. Let all these talking about buying a gym here and a little arena here. Hell no, put that in and start investing in the military. Now we talking. And charge and pay these soldiers. Invest in some weaponry and some air. First of all, you think they'll let you do it? If they don't let you buy it, you know that it's a threat to them. That's why they won't let them buy them radio and TV networks and all that. Y'all notice that, right? They can buy all the starving African kid foundations in the world. They will not let you buy a network. They won't let you buy main media. They're not going to let you buy anything with the military or any type of government situation. They will not let you do that. But it takes an economy of our own to go out and do it. Be self-contained. That's what the Most High is teaching us. Was all of that?
Verse 15. At his day thou shalt give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it. For he is poor and setteth his heart upon it, lest he cry against thee unto the Lord, and it be sin unto thee.
See that? So the Most High has a problem with those that do bad business in that fashion. We got to be aware of that. Go to Tobit, chapter 4. Let's read verse 14. Y'all with us? And this is from the, the smallest little business transaction to the largest. You might have sold some on eBay. Don't defraud your brother. Knowing it ain't working. Let me get some money for this. What did it say? The Most High hear it, right? 4 and 14.
Tobit chapter 4 and verse 14. Let not the wages of any man which hath wrought for thee tarry with thee, but give him it out of hand. For if thou serve God, he will also repay thee.
You see that? Go ahead.
Be circumspect, my son, in all things thou doest, and be wise in all thy conversation.
See that? So he's showing them an aspect of being wise in business. Anyone does work for you, says pay him. Make sure. Don't defraud your brother. Don't have a reputation of doing business in that fashion. He said, be wise. Y'all see that? Let's flip over to Proverbs 20 and 10. Actually, let's read 25 and 13. Deuteronomy 25 and 13. I'm sorry, Proverbs. No, Deuteronomy 25, yeah. Deuteronomy 25, 13. Not bad. You said Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy chapter 25 and verse 13. Thou shalt not have in thy bag diverse weights, a great and a small.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt not have in thine house diverse measures, a great and a small.
Go ahead.
But thou shalt have a perfect and just weight. A perfect and just measure shalt thou have, that thy days may be lengthened in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
So what is he saying by having diverse measures and diverse weights? He's saying, don't be trying to get over. That's what he's saying. So because everything, when we're dealing with agriculture and things like that, things were put on a scale or a balance. And that's how you were able, and things were charged by the weight. Like when you go to the grocery store and it says, $2 a pound or something like that. Back in the day, the store owner used to put his thumb on the scale to make it a little bit heavier than what actually was on there to charge you more money. Is that being right or wrong? You understand? Or they'll put little weights somewhere in there so that when you put it in there, it's already 2 pounds heavier than what you're already putting in there. So you'll get these little, extra money all these different times you measure it. That's defrauding. You understand? So showing you that our people wasn't beyond doing things like that. That's why the Most High said you got to be just and upright in your dealings. Because this is how, he said, this is how we stay long on the land. That runs out. Getting over on people runs out real quick. Y'all notice that? People end up doing that, they end up getting caught, doing fraud, end up doing something, they get by a few times, they end up getting locked up. So the Most High is showing us if we do it and deal with business straight up and straight down from the beginning, that's how we prosper, straight up. We get a reputation of being upright, being professional, being righteous, not as being phony, not as being shysters and trying to get over or trying to swindle, all them little terms that they use, shenanigans and all of that. But we're doing upright business. Was all of that?
Yeah, unless you want 16.
Now you can write down the one I told you, Proverbs 20 and 10. Now let's go to Leviticus 27. Let's get some historical. So we see that how we got to be upright in our business. We got to be diligent in the business that we undertake. And then be upright in that business. If our people learn that, we can get ahead. Then we can get that comfort with doing business with one another. Because what happens is, our people have done and try to get over on each other so much that then when you do business with somebody and say it could be an honest mistake. You see, that's why I don't do business with my people. Like, damn, I didn't mean it like that. Nah. You tried to get over. So everybody takes the rap because of others' ill doings. Y'all see how that works? Read what you got. Leviticus 27. Let's read verse 30.
Leviticus chapter 27 and verse 30. And all the tithe of the land.
So we're dealing with the aspect of tithing. Tithing was the 10th of the increase that was given every year for whatever you grew. All of the tribes of Israel were allotted land by the Most High when they went into the land of Israel. All right, only the children of Levi were not given land. They were given suburbs scattered amongst all the tribes. So the tithing was everywhere that they planted, since they were given land, each family or what have you would have to give a 10th of the increase. Whatever grew that year, they would have to gather it of whatever it was. And everybody had a different commodity. Some was oxen, some had lamb and livestock. Some had, corn and vegetation. Some had fruits and what have you. So whatever grew, they would take the 10th per year and then they would give that unto the priest. This is how we invested within our nation. And you're going to see how it was utilized. So everyone had to contribute into investing into their nation. This is the only way that the nation will grow. You couldn't just live somewhere and just be free. We had to give back as a people because, again, remember, the soldiers had to go out and fight. Because if they didn't fight, what would happen if the enemy came in? They would have taken everything from us anyway, right? So someone had to pay for them to eat, to live, and their families and things like that. So we would invest, similar to what the government does now when they impose taxes. What are those taxes for? That's what you pay for. You pay for the roads to get fixed. They don't fix ours, but that's what it's supposed to go for. All right, it's technically supposed to go for your medical care and all the things like that, which they don't fix and don't deal with in America either. Other countries, the taxes cover the Medicare, your medical attention and things like that. So we would give that 10th and it would go to the priest and the priest would store it up. And this is how we invested within ourselves, and we always kept a wealth within our nation. Okay, let's read on.
Whether of the seed of the land or of the fruit of the tree is the Lord's. It is holy unto the Lord.
So that was the way we gave it back to the Most High, because who gives us wealth and riches anyway? Who can make us poor? Most High does it all. So we always give back to him first. So the Most High would bless us. We would then take a portion of that and we'll give it back to the Most High. We'll reinvest back in the Father. And this is how we continue moving. This is how we continue from generation to generation. So when people were not paying the tithes, they were actually robbing themselves. Because what happened to the economy if people did not give in? It'll diminish. You understand what's going on? So this is how we stay afloat. Because put it this way, do you think every single year the earth would always give? Or do you think that there were some years where things didn't grow as much as they did the year before? So what would you do when things weren't that fruitful that year? Hopefully we had those things stored up, right? So this is how we invested for the future too, not just for right then. So the Most High taught us not to be greedy either. We just didn't look at just, let me think about right now. That's what our people do when they get money now. They go and blow it off all on things that they want right now. They don't think about let me think 25 years down the line. Let me think, what can I have that I can, what happens if I break a leg and I can't run anymore and I can't play this sport and meet these contracts? What will I do with myself then? What will my family do? So they don't think about that. So they just buy it up and spend and spend and spend, and next thing you know, they're all messed up when it comes down for them to retire. They can't play anymore, or they can't do whatever they was doing because they didn't invest it properly. So the Most High commanded that we invested back into the nation through a law called giving tithes, okay? The church would take it and put it in his pocket, but no, this went to the nation. Everyone had to do this based upon your increase. Everybody was different. If you only had a small little corner, you can only give so much, right? But if a person had 100 acres, he would obviously be given a lot more. So it was based upon your blessing would be determined by how much, or what you paid was based upon how much the Most High blessed you. Okay, let's read on.
And if a man will at all redeem aught of his tithes, he shall add thereto the fifth part thereof. And concerning the tithe of the herd and of the flock, even of whatsoever passeth under the rod, the tenth shall be holy unto the Lord.
The tenth is holy unto the Most High. Everybody see that? Okay, read on. Was all of that?
Unless you want more, 33.
That's that. Drop down. Let's read verse. Let's go to Deuteronomy 14. Deuteronomy 14, and let's read verse 28.
Deuteronomy chapter 14 and verse 28. At the end of 3 years, thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thine increase the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates.
So every 3 years, all the tithes that were given, they would be brought out. Read on.
And the Levite, because he hath no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come, and shall eat and be satisfied, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hand which thou doest.
You see that? That was our own social helping system. Y'all see how that works? So those that didn't have like a mother, a woman that lost her husband, she didn't have a provider. Guess what? She was able to get help among her people. She didn't have to go to her oppressor. We would help. Y'all see how we was being self-contained? Those that lost their parents, as I said, the orphan or one that didn't have, or the fatherless, they didn't have anyone. But guess what? We would take care of our own. So this is how a nation would thrive and stay together and be able to be self-contained and powerful without relying upon another people. Can y'all see that? Now what happens? We got to go to our enemy for everything, right? Anything. That's not how it's supposed to be. That's not freedom at all, is it? Heck no. Not at all. Was all of that? Sir. Drop down. Let's read. Get Leviticus chapter 23. Let's read verse 22.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 22. And when ye reap the harvest of your land.
Now look at this. Now, even when you had land and you reap the harvest of it, all right, so everything is coming forth and you began to pick from it. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest.
So areas of the field, he said you can't make clean riddance, meaning, say you had all these oranges growing, you had trees, it's a whole land full of orange trees, and you just picking them because you had an orange business. He says you can't just clean all of them out, even though they're yours, because who gave it to you? The Most High. So these were laws amongst how we dealt with things economically and amongst each other. So he said you can't make clean riddance of it. All right, but read on.
Neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest.
So the ones that fell on the ground, said don't gather those. Okay, those are the gleanings, the ones that would fall on the ground. Okay, go ahead.
Thou shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger.
You see that? So those that was less fortunate, they were able to appreciate from what you had as well. Y'all see that? This is what it takes to build up. This is economics, because it kept it self-contained. When you have these things there, why would a person need to steal? Y'all see how it works? Why would he need to be upset when he says, no, you know what? No, we look out for one another. There's no need for him to have to rob you because he doesn't have something. No. So the crime rate goes down, right? You see what I'm saying? What's everybody out there stealing for now? Because they're trying to survive. That's what's going on now. People are trying to survive. So that escalates everything. But no, the Most High said, I blessed you. You got to bless and give back. So we would keep our people. If they were in need, we would help them. No questions asked, no IOUs, none of that. They were able to come in and eat and partake. That's love. Where's that love at now? Let a person grab something off your tree now. Hey! Get off my lawn. Because our people are ignorant of the scriptures. They don't know. But these are the things that the Most High was showing us. This is how we maintain our integrity as a nation when it comes to dealing with money and finances. We got to build that way. Read Deuteronomy 23 and 18.
Verse 18. And ye shall offer with
Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy?
Yeah, 23 and 18.
Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 18.
Now this is another thing that we didn't, the Most High didn't tolerate either. Check this out.
Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore, or the price of a dog, into the house of the Lord thy God for any vow.
You see that? So what is he saying there? Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore or the price of any dog. What is that being? What's being said there, Edward? Come on, Mike, man.
He's saying that the Most High doesn't respect any business dealings with sex, pretty much.
To a degree, but he's saying something more than that right there. What's he saying? Go ahead, my sister. What's your name? Kanisha. Go ahead.
The father does not condone to lucrate money.
Okay, exactly was what he's saying. So you can't go out and get no dope money and bring it in and try to build up the house of the Lord with that. You understand what he's saying there? Wicked money, in other words. That's why I said the hire of a whore. So a woman that was out prostituting herself and she brought back money, say, oh, I'm going to pay my tithes with it. No. Most High is not accepting that because that was, as it says, ill-gotten money. Wicked money, evil money. All money's not good money. Or is it the price of a dog? Because when you look at the dog, represents an unclean animal. Any immoral, or unclean practice, you cannot bring that into the number. Everybody see that? So you got to make sure your money and your business is up and straight and lawful. In other words, everybody see that? All right. So no, you can't be selling weed on the side trying to get extra money. That's wickedness. And that's not how we built our nation up. We built it up on the righteousness of the Most High. Everybody see that? Okay. Jump from there. Go to, let's get Genesis 41. Because that's what happens to with a lot of businesses out there in the world. They built a business from drug money. How many of them thrive? That's it. They say, oh, well, we're going to take this drug money, we're going to create a record label. Y'all heard all them stories and things like that. Most High's not with that. Go ahead. Genesis 41, let's read verse 33.
Genesis chapter 41 and verse 33. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt.
So this is Joseph, while he was in Egypt, he's giving Egypt a very good lesson on economics here, all right? And it's something that we ought to live by as well, that the Most High showed us, even with the alms and with the tithing, how we were to bring every year and give to the priests, right? The 10th. And then every 3 years, what would they do? They would bring and distribute to the poor and those that were fatherless and those that had need. They would distribute it that way. Well, this is something that was taught into ancient Egypt, okay? And so he said, find a man that hath wisdom. Go ahead.
Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years.
So Joseph saw a vision that Egypt would have 7 years of where things would just grow plenteous. For 7 years, they're going to grow all this. But then, right after those 7 years, what was going to happen? It was going to be a famine for 7 years, meaning nothing. It was going to be, as I said, dearth, where nothing would grow. It was going to be like just, you know, I've seen that desert rock, and it's just hard. Water's going to be scarce, food's going to be scarce, all of that. So Joseph said, listen, because knowing how the Egyptians were, they were in excess. They lived excessively, just like Americans do today. So he told them, said, listen, while you go through these 7 years of plenteous, it's best that you take a portion of that and you put it aside so that you'll be able to have when the years of famine come. And guess what? You control the market. So he showed them about supply and demand. Because if you have all the corn, while everybody else is eating all their stuff up, thinking it's going to be more to come, when the famine hits and they don't have anything, who are they going to come and buy food from? You could charge whatever you want. You could charge $30 for a glass of water if you want to, if you're the only one that has water in the world. Y'all see how it works? So this is what he showed to the Egyptians at this time. And so the Pharaoh looked at him and was like, you know what? This is good. And so they began to do that. So what is that showing with us? So he said, do what? Let's read on.
Verse 35. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh. And let them keep food in the cities.
You see that? Go ahead.
And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine.
So when the 7 years of famine came, they would have that food right there that they would be able to sell to the people at whatever price they wanted to. All right, go ahead.
Which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine.
And that Egypt won't crash through those years of famine. Everybody see how that's working? So what is that saying how you should deal with your money? You gotta learn to save it. There may be a day you don't have a job, right? You should be able to live, right? So that's where it comes down to when I was saying earlier that these principles are not taught to our people on how to think about the times from hereafter. What happens when you can't dribble that ball no more? What happens when you know, whatever it is, you entertainment, well, all that other stuff, what happens when that falls through? The Most High is showing us that we got to start thinking about things when we don't have. We may have it now, but when we always have it. You understand? Our people don't roll like that. They take it and it burns a hole in their pocket to where they spend it and spend it and spend it. We become a consumer society. You know what that means? Meaning we don't feel alive unless we're buying. Buying and purchasing has become an addiction. Can y'all see that? That's what the world is consistent of. You just feel sick. I gotta buy something. If it's a stick of bubble gum, you gotta buy something. And they make it easy. That's why they say, you know what? You can do it from your phone. Here, just buy and shop. Buy it, go online, click, that's it. That's all it takes. So you got people sitting at home just click, buying stuff that they don't need. And companies have taken advantage of that because they know people, they want to buy something. So you have people that have eBay and Amazon. These companies have made billions of dollars based on the mentality of people in the world now. Because it's turning people just like it was in ancient Egypt. They'll take to the very last minute. That's why what Joseph said was they would have been messed up. He told them, look, you better preserve and save up or your home will have nothing. And that's it. Because Egypt was an excessive generation, even after that. They're the people that want to bury their riches with them. You understand? How excessive are you? You want to bury your wealth with you. Knowing good and well, you ain't nothing you can do with it. It's still there. You understand? But that's how the greed set in. But that's the same thing with people today. Bury all my jewels with me. But the Most High is showing us is that, we got to learn to be frugal. Y'all know what frugal means? Be wise with your money. Don't let it burn a hole in your pants where you just I gotta spend it on some gold tennis shoes. It's like, really? Yeah, just go with my gold outfit. You only gonna wear it once. But you got people that do that. And you know what? Later on, some people realize, damn, why the hell did I buy them damn shoes? Now I need to make rent. Now I need to get this. Now I don't have this. We got to be wise because remember, the Most High gives it to us, right? The Most High takes it away too. You got to remember, the Most High looks at how we deal with our finances too. He said, you don't need nothing else. Let me show you how and start dealing wisely with your money. And he'll hit us with things to make us start thinking like, damn, I got to start getting a little bit better. You don't know what to do. The Most High, we be thinking, man, I sure wish I had money. Most High be like, no, you don't. If you had money, you would not be in the truth no more. He'd be running a whole pattern down from it, just due to our behavior. Your mind would be sidetracked way on something else. So this is where, we got to learn within our people because we don't think about tomorrow. We don't think about those things. We don't make wise moves. Can everybody understand what I'm saying? We got to do better as a nation. This is what it takes to build a nation. This is when you look at the so-called white man, look at how they set up their riches and their wealth. You got these cats that's running around here, they're millionaires. You wouldn't even know it. They drive an old beat up car, walk around with some old jeans on and an old shirt, still asking for a discount. You mean to tell me I can't get this for this? Like, man, you got millions in the bank. They don't think like that. They think, yeah, how do you think I keep it? Whereas we get it, we start, first thing we think, what can we buy? What can I buy? That's the wrong mentality. They think, what can we invest? What can we buy? That's different. You buy it, that's it, has no more worth after you buy it. They think of, what can I spend this money on that's going to make me more money? That's investing. Y'all understand the difference? That's how they're able to pass wealth. When you look at the Roth, check out those books on the family of the Rothschilds and look at how they dealt with certain things. How they're able to keep all this money. This wealth is, you can't even put a number on the wealth that they have. And not only do they have wealth, they have power. The perfect combination. The Most High is showing us the same thing. The power is coming. We got to be wise. While we in this system, we got to be wise. Can y'all see that? Get what's up? You got something? Go to Proverbs 21. 21 and 20. Is there any questions? Anybody have any questions? Everybody good? All right. We're just going into, again, just to show some of the things that's happening with our people as to why, because that's a question people always ask. They think that, you know, we got to have more black businesses. We got to have more Hispanic businesses. We agree. But they've been there, what's happened to them? Why did they fall? When they existed, did you buy from them? Or did you go down to Chun King down the street? I mean, that's how it is. We need these businesses. We need that. 2 or 3 and 4 businesses, that's not going to help it. I mean, we need billions of dollars moving to make any noise, to make any movement. But the first thing, you got to start with our mentality. Once we understand what kind of mentality we need to have, then when those businesses come, we know how to deal with them. Then when we do get some money, we know what to do with it. Our people don't know. They get the money, as soon as they see something on television, say, oh, that's what I need to get. This would proves me to be successful. And they invest on that just so that they can have so-called status. Is that what it's about? Let's read that, Proverbs 20.
Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 20. There is treasure to be desired in oil in the dwelling of the wise.
Right.
But a foolish man spendeth it up.
You see that? So there's treasure to be delightful to have with the wise. He said, but the what? The foolish spendeth it up. Everything come in, they send it out. They don't post. They don't do anything with it. Just diminish. Just diminish. Doesn't work like that. That's not how we roll. Let's go to Proverbs 22. Read verse 1.
Proverbs 22 and verse 1. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold.
So a good name, having a good good reputation, is to be chosen above all things. That's why they have something in the government called what? Credit. That's your name. That's your trustworthiness, right? A lot of people don't look at that as I'm not giving a damn about no credit. I used to think like that too when I first came. I was like, forget Esau, this world coming down, spend it up. The next thing you know, you can't get a place to live. You understand? Because what do they check to find a place to live? You understand? That's your name. All of those things you got to deal wisely. This system is set up on business. You understand? And especially among our people. That's our name and credit worthiness among our people is bad. We ain't even dealing with this. We're dealing with ourselves. Let's deal with ourselves right now. Get Proverbs 22 and verse 7.
Let's go down to verse 7.
Yeah, just read verse 7.
Verse 7. The rich ruleth over the poor.
Do y'all see that? Who's ruling over us? Yeah, the rich rule over the poor. Go ahead.
And the borrower is servant to the lender.
Do y'all see that? What does that mean? The borrower is servant. The borrower is servant to the lender. What does that mean? What does that mean, Daraj? Mike Man.
So long as you stay in debt, you're going to always be up under those, or those that are in power are going to stay in power.
There you go. So what does that tell? So then you see why they want to give us all these credit cards? Don't you get them in the mail? What'd you say? Why are they sending you that? Get this, open up this now. But you know how many of our people jump on those things? Thinking the more they got, the better they have? Man, nah. It's to keep us in debt. Because what did he just say? The borrower is enslaved unto the lender. Because that was a curse too. Remember it said, he shall lend to us, but we shall not lend to them. We don't have nothing to lend. You want to finance a car, you got to go to a lender. They got to lend you the money, right? And they're going to get their taxes and fees off the top. Oh, they make millions, billions in usury. Because that's what it is. Interest that they charge you is usury. They make billions off of our people in this. That's why he said the borrower is enslaved to the lender. Was that all of that?
Yes, sir.
Read Sirach chapter 4, verse 31. Let's go to the Apocrypha. Sirach 4 and 31. Show you a few things that the Most High speaks about that's prevalent among our people. Sirach 4 and 31.
Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4 and verse 31. Let not thine hand be stretched out to receive, and shut when thou shouldest repay.
What does that mean? Don't let thy hand be stretched out to receive, but then, hold up, when it's time to repay. What is that saying? Quran, what's that saying?
If someone loans you something, money or whatever, make sure to pay it back.
How many of y'all fallen as a victim to that situation?
Being the lender or the borrower?
Either one. We may have done both. That's it. It's like you hunting the person down, bro. Man, can I hold 100? Brother says, man, look, I don't have it, but if you need it here, he give it to you. I got you on Tuesday. What happened when Tuesday roll around? You ain't looking for him no more. You avoiding them now. Oh, there goes Tazai. All right. You trying to make it short. Hey, all right, brother. Keep it moving. That's how it is. But what did it say? When it's time to repay, you can't be that way. That's how people is. Flip over to chapter 29. Read verse 1.
Ecclesiasticus, chapter 29, verse 1.
Check this out.
He that is merciful will lend unto his neighbor.
So one thing we did in Israel, we helped each other. Okay? Besides the things that we would give and people would take from, our land and what have you to help with the poor, but we also lent. That was a part of being brotherly. Help people in the time of need. We couldn't just give everybody everything. We would lend to them. Okay? Go ahead.
And he that strengtheneth his hand keepeth the commandments.
Read.
Lend to thy neighbor in the time of his need, and pay thou thy neighbor again in due season.
You see that? But when you lend, are you supposed to repay it? You see that? But they don't always work that way. That's why a lot of bad business is done within our nation. People lend, they go out of their way for you, but then when it's time for you to make good, what happens? There's a problem. Then what happens? People fall out. This even happens in the household with marriages. Biggest dispute in the household is over money. You understand? Happens the same way. Happens through relatives. That's why people have things. You never do business with family. That should be the best people you should do business with. But those slogans and bywords and proverbs come up because of bad business dealings in the past. Because it turns into emotional and not business. If it's business, it should be business no matter who you're doing it with. Be it a brother, be it someone else, be whoever. Business is the principles stay the same, don't they? But when we look at, a family member or something like that, we don't look at them in the same light. They'll be cool with me not paying back. That's mama. Oh, that's pop. That's that. Oh, that's such and such. Oh, that's auntie. It don't work that way. Because it said a good name is to better above all gold and jewelry, right? Read on.
Keep thy word and deal faithfully with him.
See that? Read.
And thou shalt always find the thing that is necessary for thee.
Because remember, it all goes back to how we are with the Most High too. Go ahead.
Many, when a thing was lent them, reckon it to be found.
Look at that.
And put them to trouble that helped them.
See that? You got people with that mentality. You lend them something, they have it so long, they thought it was theirs. Only because a person just was nice enough or just merciful to not ask for it and not hound you about it. Y'all see how it works? That don't mean they didn't want it. They just say, I ain't gonna sweat the person. I believe that they got a good heart and that they'll return it. Next thing you know, it's been like, damn, it's been a long time. Maybe I need to ask about it. No, you gave me that. No, I didn't give you that. Yeah, you did. No, you did. Well, there's a way to even destroy that the scriptures talk about. Flip over real quick. And flip over to 42 in verse 7. Yes, same book, chapter 42, verse 7.
Ecclesiastes chapter 42 and verse 7. Deliver all things in number and weight, and put all in writing.
In what?
In writing.
Those are contracts. Go ahead.
That thou givest out or receivest in.
You see that? It says get all in writing what you give out or what you receive in. That way, you know what? You got a record of it, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Somebody got you to say, hey, brother, we can do this business, but I'm going to need you to say, oh, see, that's the white man. The scriptures tell you, no, this is a business between me and you. You understand what's going on? These are old lessons. That's a business contract. Yeah, if we're going to deal with some business, no, we need to make sure that there's an understanding because we don't want to get 6 months down the line and you done flipped up. No, I said 60-40. Nah, you said 50-50. Nah, we said 60-40. But if we got the records, it's right there. Now we know what we're talking about. Y'all understand what's going on? That's why these things are in place. Let's go back to where we was at.
Verse 5.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes chapter 29 and verse 5. Till he hath received, he will kiss a man's hand.
You see that? That's how it always works. They nice as hell to you when they need it. You think I can doing all kind of stuff for you, want to run around. Oh, brother, brother. This is here. Let me straighten this up. I don't want to bother you. But you think that I can, only if it's all right. They lay it on you. But go ahead.
And for his neighbor's money, he will speak submissively.
Yeah. Oh, hey, brother. Shalom. How you doing? How's the family? All right, go ahead.
But when he should repay,
now they loaned it to you. Now when they're supposed to repay, go ahead.
He will prolong the time and return words of grief.
Look at that. Damn. Man, I'm going to give you a little $50. But it wasn't a little $50 when you was asking for it and you needed it, right? Is this happening a little bit of our nation or a lot? It's a lot. I bet you everybody in here got a money story. But here's the thing. I bet you everybody in here got a story that left a bad taste in your mouth where you're real skeptical about doing business with people. That's how it works. You be like, I don't know. The scriptures even talk about things on how to do business if you're skeptical. But let's go ahead. We'll get through it.
And complain of the time.
And then complain, man. I know I said Tuesday, but damn, man, you know, Monday was a holiday. So all kind of little excuses come out, right? Go ahead.
If he prevail, he shall hardly receive the half. And if he will count, as if he had found it, if not, he have deprived him out of his money, and he have gotten him an enemy without cause.
See that? So it's like you in a lose-lose situation. Because if you let him go away, then you ain't going to get the money, is what he's saying. Then if you demand it and they give it to you, then what's going to happen in that relationship? It's going to fall out anyway. So that's where some people say, I'd rather not do business with family because it always ends in this situation to where you end up falling out. You understand? But should it be? No, the person who borrowed it should make it good, right? That's the righteous thing to do. Say, hey, I borrowed it, I got you. Yeah, I know, and communicate, talk to the brother. I know I said I'll pay you on Tuesday, but man, something happened. Here, can I give you half and then give you the other half? At least that person says, okay, they're making an effort. They're trying to make it right. But you got the people that have finagled until they can't finagle no more. And really are acting, walk through life like they don't owe you nothing. And they had the nerve to come and ask you again. I know I owe you already, but look. Oh, I thought you forgot about that. It was a year ago. And since you remember it, you got some serious, you know what, to come and ask me again. But that's how our people roll. Was all of that? Oh, go ahead.
He payeth him with cursings and railings.
Look at that. That's how that person gets paid back. When they help that person in the time of need, they get cursed out. Man, take your little money, man. See, man, he tripping over a little funky little $30. That ain't the point, right? Go ahead.
And for honor, he will pay him disgrace.
You see that? Go ahead.
Many therefore hath refused to lend.
Read that again.
Many therefore hath refused to lend for other man's ill dealing.
See that? That's where the Proverbs come out. People don't want to do business with certain people. They've been jacked over before. They like, you know what? Man, I'm good. Go ahead.
Fearing to be defrauded.
They don't want to be defrauded. Get Deuteronomy 23:19. Deuteronomy 23, verse 19. Y'all with us?
Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 19. Thou shalt not lend upon usury to thy brother.
Usury is interest, so it is illegal for us to charge interest to our brothers if you loan them anything. For example, you can't loan a brother $100 and say, look, you got to pay me $135 in 2 weeks when you pay me back. You put interest on that money. You can't do that. We loan each other for the percentage value of what it is. So if that person borrowed, whatever amount it was, then that person owes you that amount. They don't owe you any more. They don't owe you anything other than that. Everybody see that? But now, one thing we do, continue on, watch this.
Usury of money, usury of victuals, usury of anything that is lent upon usury. Unto a stranger,
listen to
thou mayest lend upon usury.
So now, one that's not of our nation, we could lend upon usury. That's how you keep our economy strong. Y'all see how it works? Just like in their economy, they're going to charge you that interest rate on that finance in that vehicle, right? They're going to charge you a finance rate on your mortgage. They're going to charge you a finance rate on them credit cards. So that's how they continuously get ahead because they're in rule. Okay, go ahead.
But unto thy brother,
your sister, go ahead.
Thou shalt not lend upon usury.
You shall not lend upon usury. We cannot charge interest. Okay. From there, jump to get Proverbs 22. Look at this. And this is what the Most High even tells you. You better be careful. Like, you ever heard of that term called a cosigner? You ever heard of that before? Okay, you know what a cosigner is? It's a person who signs for you on your behalf. Like, you may have bad credit or no credit, and you sign your name away, and if anything happens, if that person doesn't make good on that loan, who do they come for? So scriptures speak about that too. Let's read that.
Which verse?
Read Proverbs 22. Let's read verse 26. 26 and 27, and then we go into we're gonna flip over.
Proverbs 22 and 26. Be not thou one of them that strike hands.
Strike hands is meaning those that have, like, give pledges of some sort, in almost in a way of negotiating. Okay, that's what he's talking about. Go ahead.
Or of them that are sureties for debt.
See, of those that are sureties for debt. A surety is a guarantor for a debt. He said, be not one of those that does that. Okay, go ahead.
If thou hast nothing to pay, why should he take away thy bed from under thee?
Meaning that if this person has nothing, why would they take what's yours? Because if you don't make good on that, whose stuff are they going to come and get? Yours. Y'all understand how it works? So it's saying if that person has nothing to even repay, why would you put yourself on the line like that? If they have nothing to even pay for, how are they going to even make good on that debt? So he's letting us know about those things. Flip over to chapter 6. Let's read verse 1. The scriptures speak a whole lot about business, don't they? If our people really took time to really look at these principles on how business was conducted and, you know, how we would deal with certain things, you know, it would solve a lot of problems, for sure. Proverbs 6 and 1.
Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 1. My son, if thou be surety for thy friend.
There it is again, surety for thy friend. Go ahead.
If thou hast stricken thy hand with the stranger.
Made a deal with a stranger. Go ahead.
Thou art snared with the words of thy mouth.
Now you made yourself liable for whatever goes wrong with that person. Go ahead.
Thou art taken with the words of thy mouth.
You made an oath. Go ahead.
Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself. When thou art come into the hand of thy friend, go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids.
So meaning that we can't be naive to these situations. We got to make sure that whoever we're doing business with and vouching for, you got to make sure that you're vouching for the right person. Because then at the end, who's it going to hurt? Because at the end, what did he say? It's not about, we just emotional thing. No, it's business. You're going to put yourself on the line for someone that you know that can't make the debt good, then you might as well just say, I'm just going to go ahead and take on the debt for you then. Because that's how it's going to end up. Y'all see how it's going? These are the things that the Most High is showing us on how we got to, look at things in a wise perspective. Not just looking at things from the brotherly, we're brotherly and sisterly dealing with business, but this is business in these instances. Can y'all see that? All right, is there any questions? You had your hand up? Yeah, go ahead.
I work with a lot of Amalek, fake Jews, and one of my bosses received this notice in the mail asking them for donations. And it was for their loan house. They have their own, they don't call it a bank, but a place where Jewish people can go and get loans interest-free for anything from, like, if you need a first-time home buyer or you're rough spot, unemployed, widows, anything that happens in life. And they ask the richer or people that are well off in the Jewish community every year to give money to this loan house, and then they loan to their own people and do it, according to like what the scriptures are telling us how we should take care of our own nation. And I'm bringing this up because when I first read it, I just got so jealous because I was thinking, wow, these are fake Jews doing what we should be doing for our own nation. And then it also just reminded me, look, in the corners of their street, they have these interest-free loan places that you could go to for help. And what do we have? That payday check place where they're going to charge you 50% interest or more. We don't have nowhere to go. But they, just to show you, to prove how you really can build up how we're supposed to be building up our nation, and they're doing it, and look how shameful it is on us that we don't do it at all.
Yeah, for real. For real. I'm gonna give you a couple of more to write down. Write down Luke 14. If anybody has any other questions, we'll take them at the desk after. Write down Luke 14, verses 28 through 30. Write down Psalms 112 and 5. Write down Sirach 18, verse 33. Sirach 40, verse 28. Yes, 18 and 33, then Sirach 40 and 28. And that's, yeah, I'll leave them at that. I'll leave them at that. So hopefully, you learn something new and we can move forward and, learn to do better, even with these small basics. It'll help you in your household, be able to help you in your personal dealings, so that we can learn to establish that power that we once had and continue on and move forward and grow, because smaller things lead to bigger things. Do small business, then we can learn to do big business. All right.